Hi, I'm Dave Scott. I'm here in Boulder, Colorado in my office, and I get a lot of questions from athletes on proper climbing technique on the bike. And I'll first preface this that you don't want to do one or the other. It's both, and that means that you're seated some of the time and you're also standing. And all the best triathletes use a combination of seated or standing, obviously a greater percentage of time seated. But I'll give you a couple specific cues. One of the things that you really need to work on is a small muscle that most people don't really know about, but it's actually a fairly large muscle under your obliques, under your rectus abdominis, called the transverse abdominis. And I talk about this in all three sports because you want to activate the TA. It's a corset-like muscle that wraps around your belly, and it stabilizes your spine. So when you're climbing, it actually allows you to generate more power out of your glute muscles as opposed to your lateral quad. And a lot of the triathletes always complain to me that, gee, my quads loaded up so badly on the bike that I was unable to run. Well, we have to run to figure out all three of these, and we have to use that big glute muscle. So how do you activate that TA? One of the simplest ways is not to change the curvature of your back, but just think about drawing your belly in lightly towards your spine. And as you draw your belly in, you don't want your rectus abdominis, your real big heavy spinal flexors, to engage. We don't want to see that six-pack. It's a really slow-acting muscle, and you'll actually feel a little indentation off the side of your navel. If you put your hand on it, you actually want to draw your fingers in as you're drawing that TA in. So when you're climbing, seated or standing, think about drawing your belly in. The second tip is when you're out of the saddle and you're pressing down on your pedal stroke, as you get near the bottom of the pedal stroke, you never want your leg to fully extend or locked out. In other words, you don't want your vastus medialis, the muscle on the inside of your knee, and your lateral quad to completely lock that patella right in its groove. It should almost be a soft press, and when you're at around 5 o'clock on your pedal stroke, that's when you unload that and go to the other side. Again, don't press all the way down to the bottom of that pedal stroke. And lastly, when you're seated, if you think about that TA, you keep your ribs high, draw your belly in without elevating your chest, and making sure you're feeling as though you're pushing forward, almost as if the pedal stroke is elliptical and not just round. So you use that TA, you'll feel your glutes start to fire. And an easy way to do this, if you have no idea what I just said, is to try a gradual gradient, about 3 or 4%. Stay seated and see if you can sit back on your saddle just a little bit more. Drop your heel down lightly at 3 o'clock on your pedal stroke and see if you can simultaneously draw that TA and keep your ribs high and feel your glutes. Hope that helps. Practice seated and standing climbs.